Coming up on Hawkeye Sports Report, the football team escaped a scare from Northern Illinois and now focus their attention to their home opener against Iowa State. We'll hear from coaches and players coming up. And the soccer team improves to 6-0 on the season. We'll hear from head coach Ron Rainey just ahead. And we'll also feature a volleyball standout who is ready to take the Iowa program to new heights. Hawkeye Sports Report starts now. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Hawkeye Sports Report. It was a busy weekend in Hawkeye athletics and all eyes were focused on the football team as they traveled to Chicago to take on Northern Illinois. Iowa narrowly escaped past the Huskies with an 18-17 victory, highlighted by Damon Bullock's rushing touchdown in the closing minutes of the game. Another big game awaits this weekend as rival Iowa State comes to town for the home opener. The team knows a lot of improvement must be made throughout the week if they want any chance to hoist the Cy-Hawk Trophy Saturday afternoon.
And it's obviously a big game for our football team, and I think a big game for everybody involved in the state, which is an outstanding thing for everybody. They've got an excellent football team. Had a very impressive win Saturday against a good Tulsa football team, and they've just done a nice job year in and year out with what they're doing over there. So
feels great. We always look forward to this rivalry. As a young kid, it was always a huge rivalry. Me being from Iowa, so it's fun to live out and have a part in it.
What makes it so much fun for you guys?
Just the competitiveness. We're huge competitors over here, and as are they. So, it's a trophy game. It's a lot of excitement.
Does it eat at you when you walk past that empty trophy case and those pictures of the Iowa State game last year in the football complex?
Yeah, it eats at us a little bit. It's hard to look at it, but at the same time, you just got thrown the film from last year, and Iowa State, they came out. They were just the better team that day.
How tough was Steele Chance on you guys last year?
He was good. He's a good player. As you can see, he got out the pocket. We lost contain a couple times, and he came up with some big plays, some big plays in crucial times that they needed it. And hopefully it's a different go around, a different story this go around.
Yeah, it was a back and forth game last year. I've talked about it before several times. I thought we almost had pulled it out, and then they came back and made some great plays. So that was an extremely tough bus ride home. And the way we lost it, the 3 overtimes, and the bottom line was they made more plays than we did, and that's always disheartening in a loss. And we look forward to the opportunity this week.
We now welcome in Hawkeye Radio Network's Rob Brooks to take a look at this week's Iowa State matchup. First, Rob, let's rewind to last week. We said it was going to be a tough matchup for Iowa, and it's certainly proved to be just that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Anytime that you're going to face a team coming off back-to-back 11-win seasons, and it's the first game of the year, you know that you're going to be in for a battle. I think when you look at these first games, if you're playing a capable opponent, which Iowa was, the fact that they have all summer, all of fall camp to prepare for you, and the fact that they use different defenses, might come out with some different offensive formations, makes things tough. But I think when you look at the positives for Iowa, Damon Bullock, you have to go there. Number one, 150 yards, averaged 5 yards per carry, which also incorporates the offensive line. And special teams always play a big part of any close game. And Mike Meyer and Iowa did a terrific job. And I think the main thing with Mike Meyer is the fact that he missed that second field goal and then came back and made 3 in a row. Not an easy thing to do.
Right, and Coach Ferentz spoke earlier in the week about the maturation of Mike Meyer, and now we kind of shift gears. This is about as big of a home opener, as intense of a home opener as Iowa has had in quite some time.
Yeah, it really is. I think anytime Iowa and Iowa State get together, whether in Iowa City or Ames, it is big. When it happens on week 2, both teams 1-0, a lot to play for. And I think when you really look at the month of September for the Iowa Hawkeyes, if you can get by the Cyclones, then things are in your cards as far as maybe getting to an undefeated September, but it's obviously one at a time. And you look at Iowa State, Steele Jance, you have to start right there to make sure that you are able to contain him. He had an outstanding week last week against Tulsa, racked up 281 yards. That was a career-high passing, also ran the ball 13 times, and we remember that 44-41 loss by the Hawkeyes over in Ames last week, and Steele Jance was a big part of it.
Yep, and you talk about the Iowa State quarterback there. How about Iowa's quarterback, James Vandenberg? It was his first game under Greg Davis in the new offense. Not a bad line, but what can he improve on, and what can we look for from James this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's really just about the passing game getting in sync, and I think you put James Vandenberg there, the wide receivers, and also the offensive line. All 3 of those have to work in concert, but I think the key thing for James Vandenberg is that the Wide receivers caught 13 of the 21 passes. That's good, but now what you want to see is getting the ball further down the field. It was mostly in the short passing game, also getting those tight ends down the field more. I think that's the key thing. You want to look at that yards per attempt, yards per catch if you're Iowa.
Coach Ferentz said that he thinks this is possibly the best Iowa State team that he's seen under Coach Rhodes. Do you agree with that, and how does Iowa match up with them?
I think everybody would agree that this is probably going into a season Iowa State's opportunity for their best team under Paul Rhodes, but it's been a building block. They seemingly have gotten better every single year, but they're very athletic. I mean, they can run the football. They've got outstanding wide receivers. Steele Chance is a playmaker. It's always been, can Iowa State stop anybody? Two of the best linebackers in the Big 12.
And how about if you can look at a key player or players for Iowa to be successful and get another W this weekend? Who's it going to be?
Well, I think Iowa, as far as the offensive side of the football, stay balanced. You look at the last game out against Northern Illinois, 139 yards rushing, 134 passing. You would like those passing numbers to increase. But I think the way that Iowa played in the second half, both offensively and especially defensively, is something to build on. And I would expect Iowa to really come out and throw the ball effectively against Iowa State.
Well, it's going to be a wild one. Fans are definitely itching for this one to get here on Saturday. Be sure to tune in on the Big Ten Network. The kickoff will be at 2:30. Rob, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
We'll be back with more Hawkeye Sports Report right after this. We're now happy to be joined by Iowa Athletics Director Gary Barta, and this is a big week in Hawkeye Athletics here, Gary.
It is. You know, we come off opening week and we were able to get a win, but now the energy and excitement in the state is elevated. You could feel it already on Sunday. The Cy-Hawk series and the Iowa State football game, it just it brings a whole new energy to the state.
And with the Cy-Hawk series, Iowa Corn now enters their second year as being the sponsor. Just kind of talk about what that means to you.
Well, you know, whenever you have sponsors, you want it to make sense. You want it to be a win-win. And in this case, you know, celebrating Iowa farmers after a year like we've had with the drought, what a great way to have a fun football game and to do it with a sponsor that's so relevant to everybody, every citizen in our state.
And the thing that's kind of important that we like to remind people about, that it's just not about the football game. It involves every sport here at the university.
You know, clearly people heighten their attention when it's the football game, men's and women's basketball, wrestling. But by having the competition include the Olympic sports, draws attention to some sports that maybe people don't follow as closely. And fortunately, we're off to a good start. The other night, our soccer team went on the road and beat Iowa State in Ames, and now this Friday night our volleyball team will be a part of the competition in Ames.
Kind of talk about, what is this rivalry in your perspective? What does it mean to the state? What does it mean to this university?
Well, rivalries are one of the fun, exciting things of college athletics, and you know, I've enjoyed it. I knew about the rivalry many years ago when I worked at UNI. I knew about the Iowa State rivalry. Fortunately, I mean, at the end of the day, I've been here for 6 of them, and we've won 4 and they've won 2. So, you know, you always want to win, no matter what the game is, whether it's a rivalry or not. So that part of it's been good. But really just the excitement it brings to the state, a lot of energy this week and beyond. What's unique about it is we're not in the same conference.
Right.
So the other rivalries I've been associated with, Washington State, Wyoming, Colorado State. When I played North Dakota State versus UND, they were all conference games. And I love the rivalry. At the end of the day, you give me a choice, Big Ten championship, win over Iowa State, and I'll take the Big Ten championship every time.
And the thing that's kind of unique this year is that it's the home opener game for football. There's also Fry Fest going on, so there's going to be plenty for fans to be doing this weekend.
Yeah, it's you know, there will be 72,000 in the stadium and then probably another 20 or 30,000 around the stadium. Just because it's a big week, there's going to be a lot of fun and exciting things to talk about and do.
Well, thanks a lot for stopping by the studio and stopping by the show, and best of luck to all the
bet.
Hawkeyes in action this weekend.
All right, thank you.
There'll be plenty of Hawkeye fans on hand for the big game this weekend. There were also plenty of Hawkeye fans in Chicago last weekend. Let's take a look at some highlights from Iowa Day at Wrigley Field.
Nothing beats Wrigley, you know that. To me, it's wonderful for all of the Hawkeye fans to be able to come down here for the weekend, come here, and then go tomorrow to Soldier Field. I mean, I think it's great.
it's an honor, I guess, when they ask you to be a part of this, and Hawkeye Day here at Wrigley Field. And I thought about it. At first I said, no, I don't think so. Let's find somebody else. And then my wife and my daughter gave me a hard time. Like, you got to do it, Dad. You got to do it. Once in a lifetime chance. So I've been practicing. It was a 5-hour ride from Des Moines by myself, so I sang it out a few times.
Little wide.
Pretty strong.
All right, thanks.
I like it.
All right, thanks.
Enjoy the game.
All right.
We thought me and Josh thought he was going to one-hop it, but he got it there, I thought. So I think that's a good pitch, better than I've seen anybody else pitch. So but he's got an athletic career. I thought I liked it was a good pitch.
What's that spoon? Louder! Real loud!
You get lost, just find the words.
This week we have 4 Players of the Week. First, it's football place kicker Mike Meyer. Meyer connected on field goals of 34, 29, 22, and 50 yards in Iowa's win over the Northern Illinois Huskies. 3 more Players of the Week come from the nationally ranked Iowa field hockey team. In Sunday's win over Missouri State, Jessica Barnett, Natalie Cafone, and Marika Strybos each scored a pair of goals as Iowa rolled over the Bears.
Welcome back. It was an action-packed and very successful weekend for Iowa athletics. Let's jump on this week's Hawkeye Express and take a look back at how each team fared. Field hockey held their home opener at Grant Field Sunday against Missouri State. Iowa's offense dominated the headlines in this one as they cruised to a 10-0 win. Iowa's offense had a whopping 35 shots on goals to Missouri State's 0. They are now 2-1 on the season, and they are ranked 10th in this week's top 25 poll.
I definitely saw them hustling in the first half to almost treat the 25-yard line like it was our penalty circle. We have the ability to play like that and to be really stingy against any opponent, and I think they executed that very well today.
And volleyball hit the road at Oakland University in Michigan. They finished 2-1 on the weekend. Nikki Daly, Rachel Bedell, and Alex Lovell were named to the all-tournament team. And cross country opened their season up at Western Illinois. Both the men's and women's teams brought home first place honors. And of course, everyone is still talking about Iowa's come-from-behind victory over Northern Illinois at Soldier Field. Running back Damon Bullock ran for 150 yards and 1 touchdown. Kicker Mike Meyer was also a bright spot, nailing 4 of 5 field goals, earning himself co-Big Ten Special Teams Player of the Week honors. And finally, the soccer team kept their perfect season intact with 2 more wins over the weekend, upping their record to 6-0. They won 3-1 over both Iowa State and Valparaiso. We're now pleased to be joined by the head coach of the soccer team, Ron Rainey. And Coach Rainey, it was another successful weekend for the soccer team, improving to 6-0 on the season.
Yeah, we were excited about the game against Iowa State, and the players get fired up about it. They had a great crowd and great atmosphere, and it's nice to get a win up in Ames.
Talk about that game with Iowa State. That kind of kicked off the whole Cy-Hawk series, and you said that there was a lot of emotions in that game.
Oh, for sure. I mean, people get that is as close to a Big Ten atmosphere in our non-conference play, just because how keyed up everybody gets and some nerves, but all those things are good. The players, I think, were excited to head into the game, and then we were very good. We were clinical in our finishing right at the beginning, and then in the second half didn't give up a lot of scoring chances and held on for the win.
You now move your non-conference win streak to 15 games. You're 6-0 this season, the only undefeated team left in the Big Ten. What have been some highlights for you at the beginning of this season?
I do think we've played some games where we've expected those results, and we've gotten those results. I am excited about the amount of goals that we're scoring and chances that we're creating. And our defense has done a great job of taking away opportunities, and that's something that we want to continue as we go through the next couple of weeks.
You have 2 new goalkeepers this year. Both are freshmen. how surprised maybe have you been, and how pleased have you been with their play at the beginning of the season?
You know, those two have done great. We have 3 freshmen, and Kylie Beck is the other, and it's the closest we've ever had a competition with the goalkeepers. And everybody has played. Right now we're playing those 2 freshmen, and they have been up to the challenge for a lot of their chances. We'll see in practice and in games if somebody emerges as the #1 starter, but right now we really have 3 goalkeepers that are pushing each other and making each other better.
Good. And right now you're outscoring opponents 21-2 on the season. What has really been working and clicking for this offense early on?
You know, I do think that when we gain possession through the middle third of the field, we've been able to run some numbers into the attacking third, and it's created some chances. And I do think we have a couple pretty good finishers out on the field, and when they've had chances, you know, their percentage has been pretty high that they've been scoring.
You now head on the road for 4 straight games. You head out to New York this weekend. Talk about how much focus your team's going to need to have on this road trip.
This will be our longest road trip of the year. We took those shorter trips to Iowa State and Northern Iowa. Going out to Army, I think, should be exciting. A full weekend on the road, allow people to bond and get to know each other better from a team standpoint. And we played 2 good opponents that made the NCAA tournament last year, and that's something we're striving to do this year.
As you approach the Big Ten season, what are maybe some things that you'd like to see your team work on and improve on?
We have to get a little bit better through the 90 minutes. I think there's been times where we've let teams gain a little bit of rhythm against us, and we have to do better there. I also think that we just have to make sure that our fitness level stays high as there's more transition to the game, as the game goes back and forth a little bit more. So those are things we'll address, not just with the games over the next 2 weekends, but also in practice.
Well, Coach, we wish you nothing but the best of luck out in New York this weekend.
Okay, thanks.
Let's take a look at this week's Plays of the Week.
This week we have 2 Plays of the Week. We start with football and the game winner from Soldier Field. With 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, Damon Bullock races 23 yards to the end zone to push Iowa past Northern Illinois 18-17.
Gets the corner turn. He's going to go into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Iowa!
On the soccer pitch, Melanie Pickett's first career goal comes from about 30 yards out on the free kick in the 4th minute of Iowa's 3-1 win over Valpo.
When I was on my 16s club team, Jason Allen was actually a coach there, and he left in the middle of my season to come be a coach here. So that initially sparked any attention to Iowa, put that in the back of my mind. Still wasn't, hey, I want to go to Iowa from Texas to the winter, but that was the initial spark of it, and then he eventually kept nagging at me and to come on a visit, and I came here, and it seemed to be the right fit.
You know, she came out of Houston as the Player of the Year in Houston, and she was an outside hitter in high school. I mean, so yeah, she was a big name, and for us to really garner a big name like that in our first class, I think helped us a lot. But you know, when you're trying to build a program, it's so often the intangibles. At least that's how we wanted to build it. You know, the character, the work ethic, you know, just the passion for the game. And you know, he just said she has all those. She's everything you want to try to build a program around. And that's certainly, you know, been proven true.
The past 2 years, it seems like a lifetime, and not only in this program, just in my life, I've grown a lot. Being across the country makes you grow up, you know. You don't have your parents to call and do your laundry or do anything for you, really. So I've had to grow up a lot, and especially in the program as well. I've created great relationships with the coaches, and they are just awesome people. I couldn't ask for better coaches, and my teammates as well. I've been surrounded with great teammates and friends and players, and yeah, I'd say the past 2 years have been a lot of growth for me and in my game as well. Like I said, playing Penn State, Nebraska in and out every other weekend makes you a lot tougher mentally and physically.
We knew we needed to bring that one player in that just wanted to be in the gym all the time, and that's been Bethany. And so then again, she had Megan Eskew that was a great role model for her and kind of fed off of that, you know, and so now Bethany is that player, and it's the culture has changed so much, and you can't, all the credit goes to her, because now it's just natural for our team to come in early and be doing things or get extra reps, and Bethany has really laid that foundation for our program, and that's what we were hoping for. That's what we knew we needed, and we wanted Bethany to be, and she's been every bit of that.
My leadership position has definitely changed from the past 2 years. The past 2 years I was underclassmen. I got was fortunate to play a lot. The coaches believed in me and trusted in me, which helped a great deal. But now that we're the upperclassmen, we only have one senior above us, and it's time for us to step up and be the leaders. And I hope the coaches believe in us as much as we believe in ourselves to do it. And leadership is going to come from a lot of different places this year. It's not going to be just one of us on top telling everybody what to do. It's going to be all of us working together. But I know since I have been on the court for the past 2 years that the coaches expect a lot from me, and I am ready to take on that role.
I mean, I think it's an overused cliche, lead by example, but it does fit her, and I don't know how else to say it, because she is our hardest worker. She gets the most reps of anybody on the team. She does everything right on and off the court, and that's the kind of leader that you want. But I also just love her quietness of leading this group, and again, she's not going to be quick to make any judgments, make any decisions as a leader or anything. She's going to think through everything before she does, so I think it's a great balance with our captains.
This year we have very high expectations, and I'm so excited to get going. It's less than a month away, and like you said, no nights off, but we have high expectations coming in. We have some great recruits coming in, freshmen, transfers, and looking to do big things. And I think this year we're going to make some moves, and we just need to have a breakout night and get going from there. And we're all on the same page and ready to work and get after it this year.
Again, that was Bethany Yeager, and she is this week's Hawkeye to Watch. Finally, let's take a look ahead at what teams will be in action this upcoming weekend. Women's volleyball will head to Ames Friday, where they will face Syracuse at 10 a.m. They will follow that up with a game against Iowa State that evening at 7. Then they will be back in action on Saturday when they take on Eastern Washington at 4 p.m. Also on Friday, field hockey heads out to Stanford for a 4:30 p.m. matchup. They will also be in action Sunday when they take on Pacific at 1 p.m. And soccer is also on the road this weekend. Friday they will take on Army in West Point. They will follow that up with another game Sunday against Long Island University of Brooklyn. And of course, the talk of the town will be football's home opener against rival Iowa State. Kickoff is scheduled for 2:30 p.m. That game can be seen on the Big Ten Network. That's going to do it for another edition of Hawkeye Sports Report. Best of luck to all teams in action this weekend. Thanks for watching.